Okay, so I'm just going to show like what I do with Ava at home. She said has not had an answer. She may not cooperate. This is the book that I've used with Ava, and what I usually do is I take notes on each of the questions because my goal is for her to not just know the right answer and be able to pick out the right answer, but be able to explain why it's right and also why the other answers are wrong. So in the process, what's happening is that she isn't just learning one concept, but she's learning four. So that's how I use the book. So because of that, we don't do a lot of questions, and also because of her age, we don't do a lot of questions at a time because each question does take a couple of minutes to go through. So, Ava, can you come and do this one? Just come and do the first one. She hasn't had an answer. She may not cooperate. So maybe I'll just go through kind of like what I would do with her if she were to cooperate. So the first question is like, which picture shows a dot? So I'll ask her the question, and then I'll ask her to point to the answer. And so when she points to the dot, I'll ask her, why is this a dot? And then I'm looking for her to say either it's a circle or it's a sphere, because she knows the difference. She knows those two shapes. And I'm also looking for her to be able to identify that they're curved lines and that there's no straight lines here. And then I'll ask her, why is this not a dot? And she has, I remember some of her answers, and she'll say, oh, this is a star. How do you know it's a star? Because it has, you know, multiple diagonal lines. It has some points, some angles, some corners, and there are 5 points, 5 corners, and there are no curved lines. So then I'll ask her, why is this not a dot? And she usually answers with the shape, so she may not say all the lines, but so I have to kind of push her to say that. Why is this not a dot? And she'll say it's a rectangle. So what do you know about a rectangle? And then I'm looking for her to say it has 4 lines or 4 sides, 4 corners or angles where the lines meet. So the corner or the angle is where the lines connect or where they meet. And then I'll ask her about this when she has struggles with the difference between the polygons. So she usually will rely on octagon, but I'll explain the difference between an octagon and a hexagon and a pentagon. But I'll ask her, why is this not a dot? And she'll usually say octagon, but then I explain it's a hexagon. Why is it not a dot? And then again, I'm looking for her to say the number of sides, to count the sides, and also to count the points or the corners or the angles. So that's like how we'll do that. And then I kind of made notes on each one. So with the alphabet, she learned her alphabets very quickly, and we didn't truly focus on the lines. So this part I have to spend a lot of time with her. The lines and the angles. I'm sorry, the lines and the curves. So I'll ask her, you know, which one closely resembles. Come here, Ava. Can you point to the lowercase a? Which one most looks like a lowercase a? Can you point to it? Good. Why does that look like a lowercase a? So this part I have to kind of teach her because she can see it by sight, but explain the lines and the curves, she hasn't focused as much on. So I'll go through each one. So yes, this most closely resembles the lowercase a because it has a vertical line and a curved line that's close to it. Why is this one not a lowercase a? Because there's a horizontal line, and the lowercase a has no horizontal line. It also has a portion of a curve, but that curve is in the wrong place and it doesn't connect. So then I'll ask her about this line. She might say, oh, that looks like an H. Why is it not a lowercase a? Because there are 2 vertical lines, they don't connect, and then there is a portion of the curved line that is in the wrong place. Then I'll ask her about D. Why is D not correct, or this last one not correct? I'm looking for her to say, because she may not always say it, there's no vertical line, and there are 2 curved lines, and this one is in the right place, the one on the left is in the right place, but the one on the right, it does not belong, it doesn't fit. So I'm trying to build her language with lines, angles, position, when we're going through this, because she learned her sight words, her alphabet by sight without so much with the lines. She just kind of knows what it looks like. So and now I'm backtracking and trying to help her to understand how the alphabet is constructed, so she can kind of identify that. So then with the shapes, So the shapes, ovoid was a new word for her. So when I explained oval or ovoid, she was able to get this answer correct. But then I'm asking her, what are these other shapes? This one, she might say it was a rectangle. And then, so with the oval, I'm looking for her to say it's kind of like a squished in circle or a narrow circle, and it's curved. Just like a circle, but it's a different shape than a circle. It's more stretched out, more narrow. And I'll ask her, why is this not an ovoid or an oval? And she'll say, you know, rectangle. She's pretty good with her shapes, and is starting to get better with the 3D shapes. And then I'll ask her to, you know, go over the lines like before, and the same with the square. This she might say is a circle, even though she's learning what a sphere is. So I'll ask her to like look at the shadow. So the shadow indicates, Ava, look at the page. Ava, can you point to the sphere on the page? Do you see the sphere? So she's starting to understand the difference between a circle and a sphere. That a sphere is a ball, and then similar with these other shapes as well. She's starting to identify the 3D shapes better. So the counting, let's see. So the numbers, I think the numbers are the same as the letters in terms of identifying the angles and things like that. I think the difference with this is that there were more like squiggly lines. So I try to use vocabulary to explain what these lines are. So like for example with the 13, you know, I might say this is it's not really a jagged line, but maybe like a squiggly line. And then for this, I'll go over top, middle, bottom. So even though this is not in the shape of a 3, then I want her to describe the lines. So there are 3 lines on top of each other. Which one is on top? This one's on top. Which one is in the middle? This is in the middle. Which one is on the bottom? This one is on the bottom. So she's still, even though it's not a 3, she's learning like positions. And the same, like with this one, this is not a 13 because it doesn't have a vertical line. It has 2 curved lines on either side, so I want her to be able to say on either side of this diagonal line there are 2, you know, there are curved lines. So again, kind of like focusing on position. And then if anywhere this is like a jagged line, so I would, or a zigzag line, I would ask her to identify that. So again, so it doesn't, we don't go through it very quickly. It takes a while to go through because we're doing. We're focusing on each answer, not just the right answer. So the tally marks, her one-to-one correspondence is getting better. So she can, if she's able to focus, then she can count the tally marks. So this is really counting for her, and then but then identifying what a tally is. So can you, Ava, can you point to the one that has 1 tally mark? Which one has 1? Very good. How do you know it's 1?
Because it was 2 or 3.
Okay, right. So this one is 2. So this is not 1. So you counted, right? You used your counting skills and you identified which one is the 1. And you said this was 2 and this is 3. But you have to count each one and make sure that you have the right answer. So kind of like showing, getting her to slow down, and not just making up a number in her head, but actually like, you know, counting each line. I think it has helped her with the tally marks. And then with the dominoes, because we are playing games that involve dice, and she loves dice, then certainly up to, I say maybe up to 10, she's really good, and then if it's above, you know, 11, 12, she has to slow down. But she's pretty much able to identify this. So what I'm trying to do here is, so like for example, the question says, which picture shows 1 dot? So it would be this one, but I want her also to be able to say, there's no dot here. So there's 2, you know, there's a domino, there's 2 spaces or 2 places where dots could be, but there's a dot only in one place. And then here, for example, if there are 2 dots, if the question's asking you which one shows 2, well, I want her to be able to identify where the dot is. If there's 1 on each side. And the same here, there's 2 here, but there's none here, or there's none in either side. So again, I'm kind of like trying to focus on position, vocabulary, and not just the correct answer. So I'm trying to see if I did any other ones. I may have done the numbers. Oh, no, that's just the alphabet. Okay, those are the shapes. Let's see. I did Oh, those are the numbers. I think I kind of went over the numbers. And then the tally marks. Let me see what this is. Oh yeah, the down below. So I mean, there are other things that I could do, but the bottom line, what I'm trying to do is to use the questions, each option, as a teachable moment, so that she can learn from each option, even if it's not the correct answer. Because I want her to be able to discriminate why something is right. And not just, oh, I got it right. Well, why is it right? Can you explain it? Tell me more about it. So that's what I'm trying to focus on. Ava, come this way. So that's what I'm trying to focus on.